Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak and I want to say Shalom to Akminakwat out there pursuing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And this is just, a little bit of a shorter one, as I've been saying lately, and they end up going, normal length. But I think this one will be a little bit of a shorter one. I just had a couple things here that I wanted to touch on. I was doing the morning news scroll on Reddit, and then I found a couple of things, and I just wanted to do a short little lesson on the Babylonian lies and Esau really just losing it, right? And some of these things I've had saved, at least this one of the videos that I have here that you'll see, but there's so this was the big thing. I don't know when this came out. This was September 20th of 2025, but they're talking about this now. And U.S. News, it says the Pentagon places further restrictions on journalists' access. And right there, that news title should raise, red flags and suspicions, as it should, because that's really what it's dealing with. Okay, they want to place further restrictions on a journalist. Now, if we go and look up define journalist, okay, we would technically be defined as well as a journalist, even though we're not journalists. We're Bible teachers, Bible scholars, all right, doing the work in the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Some of the ways that we report on things is in a journalistic manner. Okay, so we're going to go and define journalist. A journalist is someone, a person who writes for newspapers, magazines, or news websites, or prepares news to be broadcast. And when we make these lessons, we don't write for newspapers or newspaper magazines or news websites, but we do broadcast news, essentially, is what we're doing. We're not the ones that wrote it. We find it, we dig it out, all right, we weigh it, and we kind of break it down in the scrap machine, all right, to its basics, all right, filter out all the lies and bullshit, all right, and then add the truth element back into it that they removed. And that would be considered sort of a journalist behavior in some states, in some ways. Okay, it says a journalist is a person who gathers information in text, audio, or pictures, and then processes it into a newsworthy form and disseminates it to the public. This process is called journalism. So by definition, we are journalists, all right? And we're a lot of things in this truth, all right? We're scholars, all right? We're students, all right? We're teachers, all right? We're journalists, all right? We're a lot of different things in this truth. And one of these things is essentially, we wouldn't call ourselves journalists, but by the worldly definition of what a journalist is, we are someone who gathers information in text, audio, and pictures, and even video form, and we process it into a newsworthy form. We process it into a newsworthy form in a religious structural way, right? We process it through the truth, okay? We process it through the truth, all right? We let the truth weigh out what's good and what's bad, all right? And we say, oh, this relates to the truth this way, this relates to the truth this way. It's not like the opposite side of the spectrum where journalists are saying, oh, well, what this means for the Democratic Party, or what this means for the Republican Party or the Independent Party, or what this means for the lobbyists. No, we don't do that, all right? We don't worry about none of that. And as a matter of fact, bear with me, I'm actually put on do not disturb for just a moment. But yeah, man, so when you're cracking down on journalists, okay, and what a journalist can access, you got to think about it, okay? It said, and the real scripture to get off, we've been getting it the past few days, be not ignorant. Okay, Ecclesiasticus, I don't know why it's like this on mobile, but Ecclesiasticus 5:15, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. Okay, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small. So, you could be ignorant of the fact that you read something like this and say, oh, it's only going to affect, DC and, news reporters that are actually working for major news companies. And it's not, all right? They might even play it off and say it's going to be that way. But the ultimate goal for this, you got to look behind the lines. You got to understand how Esau is as a person. And Their ultimate goal is control of the information. Okay, control of information. Okay, now they're saying journalists, they are trying to control information. It says Defense Department officials said in a memo that journalists who report information not approved by the government will have press credentials revoked. Now it's starting with that. Okay, that's how they want. Okay, that's how they want it to be. And then you got to realize, another thing that you got to realize and you can't be ignorant of, is that this is starting with press credentials, yes, and that's, if you're working for Fox or whatever, or any of these places, that it's going to, remind you, even Fox is trying to go against this. All these news companies right now, you can look it up. They're, I don't know if you would want to call it lobbying, but they're, pushing back on this. They don't want this to happen. But the fact of the matter is as President of the United States, Trump, and, really one of the elite's puppets, this guy, it pretty much gets whatever he wants, all right, as long as the Lord, allows it within his means. And, being that this guy is an oligarch, all right, and you can look up that term if you're unfamiliar with it, and I'll just say it in an easy way, a billionaire, all right, a guy that's very wealthy and strives off of, gathering more and more and more and more and more money, all right, and heaping it unto himself, as these Edomites do. The other oligarchs, all right, are, and regardless of Democrat, Republic, look, it's really not Democrat or Republic. It's us versus them is really what it is. All right, it's the filthy mega rich, all right, against the poor and the dirt poor, all right, and even the middle class doesn't even really exist like that, but to an extent, they're even against the middle class, because the middle class doesn't fall under their bracket either, man. And bear with me. Actually, 1 minute. Let me see. But yeah, man. So there's a bear with me. I'll be right back. I'm gonna piece this together. Slack you 1 minute. Slack you. But yeah, they don't fall on their bracket either, because really, it's like I said, us versus them on the grand scale of things. There's other things, that's there. You can't begin to talk about the government structure until you start bringing up Israel's history. It's a lot more than just riches. It's also about bloodlines, and they're really only keeping their bloodline, on that mega. If you look at the mega filthy rich, it's all so-called, white people. All right, for the most part, you got a few so-called Arabs in there, but it's a few, so-called, Chinese and whatnot, but it's predominantly, Edomites, all right, and Amalek, all right, so the so-called, regular white people, and, their Esau's grandchild, was it grandchild? Amalek, yeah, Amalek. So, they got all this stuff planned out, and they don't like anybody talking about them. They don't like anybody, bringing any news out on them. It's really about a control of information. All right, so let me stop being so rambling and continue on here. So I don't really have to read too much about this, because the title really covers it all. But it says journalists who cover the Defense Department at the Pentagon can no longer gather or report information, even if it's unclassified, unless it's been authorized for release by the government. Defense officials announced Friday. Reporters who don't sign a statement agreeing to the new rules will have their press credentials revoked, officials said. That's like the shit, it's a power play, it's a big move. It's like the same thing that John D. Rockefeller pulled, with the modern infrastructure for medicine. He said, why, he couldn't get it done, so he had to get a buddy that wrote a new standard of what medicine is. Then he used that and said, here, look at the new standard of medicine. And then he was able to actually do the little fucking power play that he wanted to do. And then once he in there, he said, you either teach this or you get your license revoked. That's it. Okay? That's how, if you can't get people to agree with you, then you got to go the fascist route, and you just got to do it by force. Okay? If you can't get people to, agree with something that is blatantly, only for the rich, okay? That's what it is. It's blatantly only for, the Edomites and the high up, so they're little, and especially Trump, he's sick of all of his lies getting fucking revealed, all right? And that's the big thing, anything, they don't want certain information to be reported on, because it just pisses them off, right? It just pisses them off. Anybody that has, anybody that's a routine liar would hate, being constantly fact-checked. I went to, You know, I have $1 million. No, you don't, man. I saw you the other day. You're broke. Well, you know, I have a Mercedes Benz. No, you don't. I seen you drive a Camry. Well, I wear Gucci. No, you don't, man. I saw you. You wear fucking, you know, that Target brand clothing. Well, I have a pair of Jordans. No, you don't. You wear Skechers, right? And that would piss anybody off, right? And after a while, that guy said, "Man, I gotta get this guy to shut the fuck up. I can't have this guy continuing to reveal my information over and over and over and over again, right?" So, you know, that's what they do. They say, "Oh, well, what can we do? We have to shut them up somehow." And ultimately, one of those ways to shut people up is complete control over the media and no freedom of journalism and reporting, right? So apparently, I got to get up out of this house real quick, so I'll piece it together again in just one moment. All right, so that's that on that. All right, on this whole little press report. If you want to learn more on that, you can go and look it up. You know, the article I saw originally was talking about how a lot of these journalists, you know, and the news companies are trying to fight it right now, and they end up linking to this this article right here from NBC. So I want to read that because that's more important than finding that people are fighting it. What is it that is being fought? All right, what it is that's being fought. I'm gonna calm down, but so yeah, man, let's go. So this is why you can't really stay around in this place. All right, because it's useless. It's lies, as we're gonna get scripture in just a minute. But I wanted to read this one real quick too, because this is just a little short thing. This is from Gavin Newsom. All right, and Trump, I guess, again, this is posted October 25th of 15, and he says it time and time again because he's a liar, or he's either a liar or delusional or both. All right, and I think it's a little bit of both. And he says Trump said groceries are down again. Where? And Gavin Newsom said eggs up, beef up, bread up, bacon up, chicken up, orange juice up. Don't believe his lies. You don't have to believe his. I mean, it's impossible to believe this guy's lies. I mean, just go to the fucking store, right? There are people that have shown, you know, a price of a can of Folgers go from $5 to $10. Okay, they've shown, you know, different things. I mean, we've all seen it. All right, I've seen it in my fucking pocket. I've seen it, right? So, I mean, unless you ain't shopping for groceries, you know, I've seen the fucking amount of items, goods, all right, that have dwindled in my cart. Went from 40 items to 30 items to 20 to 10, right? I've seen it, and all for the same price, right? $40, man. Oh my God, you used to be able to get tons of shit for $40. $40 now is like a loaf of bread, some cheese, some meat, a thing of mayo, some mustard, and, you know, maybe like maybe a packet or two of ground beef, and that's it. All right, a packet of ground beef is you know, damn near $10 by itself. All right, for, you know, organic grass-fed beef, and you got to get that, or else you're just fucking probably eating the worst shit you could even eat. It's going to make you feel, my stomach feels fucking horrible. Well, no wonder it feels horrible, man. You know, here it is, you're eating like fucking, who even knows what's in that cheap ground beef? All right, that's probably those missing children beef. All right, that's, you know, those taste different than the stuff I get from a, you know, like the health food store. Well, yeah, there's a reason it tastes different. It probably ain't even the real shit. Probably just a bunch of filler, right? Little children. All right. What is it? Elbows and armpits and some teeth. That's what we like in our meat. All right. Elbows, armpits, and some beak. That's the meat we like to eat, or something like that. And some beak. That's like to eat. There's a guy, Ashens, that said it. Armpits, beak, that's meat we like to eat. It was, how did it go? I can't find it. There's a guy, Ashens, and he sung it one time. I thought it was fucking hilarious. He's like, elbows, armpits, and some beak. That's the meat that we like to eat. It was basically, he was reviewing this fucking mystery meat, alright, and this food. So, that's the only way you can really, live cheaply, is if you're eating, like, mystery meats, processed foods, and then, then you don't pay with your wallet, but you pay with your health. You wake up every day with a fucking sour stomach, a headache, alright, you feel sick, alright, you're tired, alright. So, which way do you want to pay? Do you want to pay with your health or your wallet? It's better to pay with your wallet, but if you want to pay with your health, go ahead. But he's saying all these prices have gone down. That's because he's a liar, okay? And that's why we need to get up out of this place, okay? Nahum 3:1, it says, "Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not," and the prey is you, Jake. Again, and you like staying here. You like it here, and for what reason I can't fathom. There's some entertaining things that are here, but on the grand scale of things, it's not that great, man. Just stop. And the problem is, I love it here. Put down the blunt, all right? Put down the phone. Don't go out to anywhere that's entertaining. Just walk around and think about the state of the world. And tell me if it's still worth it, because it's not. Okay, you're over here fucking drunk and high at a party. Yeah, of course you're going to say that, oh, no, that's great here. No, it's not great here. You're having a great time. There's a difference between having a great time and it's great here. If I wanted to hide under a rock and fucking, be like you and do drugs all the fucking time and well, I probably wouldn't have a good time. But back in the day, yeah, I would have probably been so outside of my mind with drugs, okay, that, yeah, I would have the idea that I'm having a good time, because you're under the influence of drugs, you dumb motherfucker, all right? That's the whole point people do drugs, because they make you feel good. Get off them and see if you feel good anymore. You won't. Okay? You won't. People say, oh, once you're clean, you'll feel better. Well, yeah, I mean, you'll feel better in health, but no, you won't. Your mental state doesn't feel better. No, it doesn't. All right? That's a lie. I know, as someone who used to fucking partake in enjoying in drugs. All right? Primarily weed, but other shit as well. But they say, oh, you'll feel better mentally and it'll clear it. No, it won't. No, it won't. Right? Because the whole thing is, a lot of people use drugs to hide from society. Okay? And once you have to fucking face the harsh realities of society, well, they're the harsh realities for a reason. Right? You're not high anymore. You're not, oh man, I'm fucked up, man. Let's watch one of Quentin Tarantino's movies and here man, load some more fucking hash on that fucking bowl, bro. Put the keef on top of it too. Right? And pass me a fucking beer, dude. And you're fucking sitting there out of your mind. You're not thinking about what's going on in Israel and in the Middle East, and you're not thinking about what Russia's doing. You're not thinking about the current state of inflation. You're thinking about how fucking fucked up you are. So of course you're not gonna think that anything's bad. You can't think of anything other than, and anybody that's been this high, that repeating over and over is, fuck, man, I'm fucked up, man. Fucked up. Shit, man, I'm fucked up. All right, and then you tell everybody how fucked up you are, and they tell you how fucked up they are. Hey, bro, I'm fucked up. Me too, dude. I'm fucked up. You think you're thinking about the fucking political state of the climate? No. You're not thinking about anything. If anything, you're thinking about, hey, man, we need more beers. All right? Or, oh, shit, we're out of weed, man. That's what you're thinking, right? So, you're not thinking about anything intelligible. So, in that state, yeah, you wouldn't think there's a problem with the world, because you don't know what the fuck's going on. You're on drugs. You don't know what's going on. And people say, like I said, you'll be happier when you're off of them. I mean, yes, you will be happier, but your mental state will not be better. All right, because you're fed up, you're stressed, you're pissed off, you're sick of dealing with this fucking place, and it's better you can't do drugs. All right. But what I'm saying is, and that's why we shouldn't be doing them in the first place. And another one, it's witchcraft. Two, is because we're not supposed to be being ignorant of what's going on. We're supposed to be watching, all right, and prophesying. And you can't be. It says be sober, be vigilant. And yes, while sober is not necessarily talking about being that you can't drink or anything like that, but sober minded, all right. And you can't be sober minded if you're not sober. Okay, you can get a little drank up, all right, every once in a while, but you can't do that every night. All right, that's fucking addiction. That's alcoholism at that point. And what are you hiding from? Right? Sometimes you just got to stay in the harsh reality of the world, and it sucks. All right, but and if you really need to escape, hey man, there's video games, there's books, there's movies, and you can escape that way. Or I mean, you can drink if you really need it every once in a while. You know, you can get sloshed for the night, and let all the stress go away. And, the Bible talks about, a strong drink and, for the misfortunate. All right. And let's see. Strong drink. Well, it talks about the one who's ready to perish. But there's another scripture as well that talks about the meaning of Proverbs 31 and drinking, Reformed. Is it talking about juice? It's juice, right? I had a motherfucker tell me that. Oh, well, in the Bible time, the drinks that they drank were more like juice. No, then that's juice. That's not wine. Wine is alcoholic, you dipshit. If it was juice, they'd juice the fucking grapes and they wouldn't put yeast into it or whatever else or they wouldn't let them rot and ferment. Okay? They just let them be. So, there's another one. Slacking, but they just let them be, right? So, I'm trying to find the other one. It goes, pour. Yeah, okay. So it wasn't the same scripture. Slakia. Come on. Well, we're going to the Bible Gateway because lately the King James Bible Online has just been absolutely atrocious. So, and I just gotta get used to switching over. This is Proverbs 31 and 6 through 7, the KJV. It says, "Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts." Verse 7, "Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more." Christians saying, you can't drink. It's a sin to drink. Oh, so Yahushua was a sinner. Well, no, he wasn't. Well, you would never admit that it was Yahushua, but you'd say, so Jesus was a sinner. No. Well, the person that you call Jesus liked wine. They actually referred to him as a wine bibber. Did you know that? Well, it was like juice. It was like juice. Then it wasn't wine. It was juice. If I go to somewhere and I say, hey, give me some wine, and I drink it and I spit out, this is alcoholic. I wanted juice. Then ask for juice. Dumb. So let me get a couple more, and then we'll close out. I don't have the video for this one. I mean, I do, but I'm not going to go and play the whole thing. And I made sure to check it. You can go and look it up if you want. You can type in Reddit, or you can do Reddit law, and then type in this J.D. Vance, because we have such a big problem in left-wing political violence, and it'll pop up, and you'll see the same video. But he said, because we have such a big problem with left-wing political violence, we have to train the investigatory and law enforcement powers. We have to retrain the entire government to focus on left-wing violence problem, and we're doing it. And I'd really implore you to go and watch it, because there's not a whole lot of left-wing violence. I mean, there is, as we see it. But it's not to the level of what these Republicans are doing, right? It wasn't the left-wingers that went out and after, Captain Kirk and lynched 3 to 4 so-called black people, okay? It wasn't them, all right, that took out Captain Kirk, okay? The guy, his family's trying to say he's a lefty, but there's photos of him dressed up as Trump. There's all these things that are related to him to Trump. The guy was a groyper, all right, that took the shot, all right, and look up Groyper, Groyper. They had a thing against Captain Kirk, all right, and Picard, all right, lumping that in so it sounds a little bit more natural, so, for the algorithm, and, a little bit of Spock talk as well, right, but, yeah, man, these guys think that, they think you're stupid, all right, and it's really because a lot of people are, but, and all the different things that go on. I'm not saying the leftists don't do it, but the leftists, they're more with the mind shit, all right? They're more on trying to turn your children into a bunch of fucking she-he's, all right? Putting that one backwards and, making them non-binary and shit and, overly sexualized. That's what they like doing, all right? They like doing that, okay? But, so, yeah, man, this place is all fucked up. All right, and it's just lies after lies after lies. And then this one said, it reminded me of the video that I have that I'm about to show here, Lord willing, but it says, JD's big problem with the left-wing political violence is that they can't find any, so they have to chase people in frog costumes instead of violent people. They need to retrain the police to, here it is, so they need to retrain the police to instigate things more so they can get a violent reaction. And that's absolutely true. They want more of a violent reaction because if violent reactions come with violent reactions, okay, so they can crack down more. So let me play this.
Terror in Portland once and for all.
You look at Portland, and you see fires all over the place. You see fights and just violence.
This network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous. They have an agenda to destroy us, just like the other terrorists we've dealt with for many, many years.
When ICE officers have to street battle against Antifa, hand-to-hand combat every night to come and go from their building.
Slide to the left, slide to the right, crisscross.
You look at what's happened with Portland over the years, it's a burning hellhole.
And Portland has its problems with drug addiction and a lot of stuff too, and there are people that do react violent. But on the, they take the minor and they make it into the major. Okay, if they got attacked by one person, everyone attacked them. Okay, if China said, okay, we're not going to patronize with the United States. Trump to say they're trying to ruin the American economy. They're doing an utter, complete abomination, and they're trying to ruin this great country. And we're not going to do business with China. They turn a molehill into a mountain. All right, and they make everything that's small into big. You blow on tire. All 4 tires I have blown. It's horrible. All right, a light bulb go. There's literally no light in the house. There's no lights in the homes. 1 light bulb goes out. Right? There was a power outage for an hour. We have no power. We have no electricity. They're taking our infrastructure down, folks. It's lies. It's a lie. And when you exaggerate to that extreme, that is a lie. Okay? If I have $10 in my account and I say, I have $10,000, that's a lie. Doesn't matter if I'm exaggerating. An exaggeration is a lie. Okay? If I said, I paid $50,000 for my car and you only paid $20,000, that's a lie. It's just an exaggeration. It's a lie. It's a lie. An exaggeration is a lie. I put accidentally, I spelled it wrong anyway, but exaggeration. A statement that represents something as better or worse than it really is. So, deceive. Deception. Deceiving. Deliberately causing someone to believe something that's not true, especially for personal gain. Same thing. So, it all goes back to lies. All right, let's go and get a couple scriptures and we'll close out. It's Job 13:4. It says, "But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. So forge means to make. To make or shape, says a metal object, by heating in a fire, furnace, or hammering, or to create. All right, build, to build up, to form, to construct, to create, to establish, to set up, and put together lies. That's who these devils are. They put together and formulate lies, and they roll them out. All right, and they do that, and they lie so they can get this infrastructure in place, so they can't have you talking about their lies. All right, so here's another one, and this is where we're going to close out. So Isaiah 10:1, it says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees." What is a decree? What is a decree? An official order issued by a legal authority. A law. Okay? A law. "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless." That's another thing. It goes back to lies and robbery, lies and robbery, lies and robbery. It's all lies. Okay? It's all lies. That's what they do. They just lie. And they lie about They lie about the lies that they lied about, as Elder Menatazatba would say. But yeah, man. So is there one more I want to get? I'll get this one just because I like it. I get it a lot. When you're talking about liars, you know, there's a couple scriptures you're going to see a lot. But, well, I mean, we'll get this one. This wasn't my intention, but I'll take it as a sign. Revelation 21:8. It says, "But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." But it's okay because Trump won't be there, because remember, World War III won't happen, right? Remember that. Trump said World War III won't happen. He's not going to allow it. So he's not going to be there, folks. he's going to be in a fantasy world that he created, because he said World War III just isn't going to happen. Of course, I'm as the English would say, I'm taking the piss. All right, he's going to be there. He's going to be there. All right, in those ICBMs, and he might not necessarily die that way. All right, most of the regular liars will. He might not. Who knows? He might go out how we don't know how it's going to go for Trump. He might do another Nero. He might do the same thing he did in the past and try to bite the bullet. We'll see. Or he might, more than likely, the Lord will probably just, keep him from doing any of that stuff, and he'll just go directly into captivity, into slavery, under Israel's power. So, of course, new Israel, right? Not the ones that are ruined there now, but under Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and his, his authority. All right. So, that's where we're going to close out. All right. I don't have a title for this lesson. Lord, one was edifying. All right. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakak. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.